It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
What is up? It is Wednesday, my dudes, and we are here for another great show as we are going to continue to do our top 10 in 10, but we're going to be switching it up here and doing our top 10 NBA point guards in 2030. So, with that, of course, we're going to need to bring in our NBA expert, Jalen Jury, here to cover that. So, we are excited to have him here and joining us. And as you see, if you are watching, we have a nice new little background there. We'll spice it up, and don't forget to, as we have posted there, we have the 12-ounce code on Zynga, so you could just be watching on the TV instead of your phone. So that frees yourself up to tweet at us whether you agree or disagree while we're doing the show, or you can text us there on the We Talk Sports Good hotline, 972-677-8269, and as well join my bookie with all this sports back, or almost back. You got the code there to get started, and I believe after us, the Vegas Squares are doing the Memorial Golf betting coverage for this weekend with Tiger back in action at Jack's Place. So we got you covered in all angles there. So just ready for a good show.
There you go.
So
yes, sir.
I am so hyped for basketball. You'll have no doubt. I if anyone saw my Twitter last night, I like studied NBA usage percentages for like an hour and a half. Yeah, that's like how much I need sports back. Dom, I'm really excited about baseball next week. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We've got Randall excited about baseball. It's pretty fired up. Jalen, if you want to get fired up for baseball, you can join our fantasy baseball league. We're trying to get a little action, get some non-baseball fans into. We got our own DJ Cody in as well with the new song. I guess it's not as new anymore, but we're getting some people that have been out of baseball for a little bit back in, and this season it's going to be very strange, just very different, and I'll definitely cover that with Thomas in our baseball preview next week. It's going to be, I'll just say this, the preview quickly, it's going to be different in the sense it's going to be very, very, very hard to predict for a 60-game season. The Nationals, who won the World Series, were in the not last place, but they're second to last, and they were below 500 after 60 games. So you take that and look, they turned it around and won a World Series. So you can't do that. You can't mess up. There's no slipping up at all in a 60-game season, and baseball players aren't used to that in the MLB. So it's going to be very interesting. Honestly, anyone could predict the winner, and I don't think any of the experts can really put together a good playoff picture. It's going to be I'm going to say there's going to be one or two dark horses that I have in my prediction, but that will make it as well in the playoffs.
Dom, shoot me straight here. What are the chances the Rangers win?
I'm going to, unfortunately, put it super high. However, I think a 60-game season does make it very possible, and they should compete for at least a wild card spot.
Okay, I'll take that. So at work the other day, I was just talking about baseball with someone, and they were like, I didn't know you liked baseball. Who are you a fan of? And I was like, so that's the thing. I'm not really. I was like, I guess I'm a Rangers fan. When I was like 10, I was a Mets fan, and I was like, but I don't know, man. When I did a mock draft the other day just to like see if I knew people. I drafted mostly all players I knew, but it was very, very limited on how many I knew.
It was still a solid team
pretty much.
Together.
Say that again.
It was a solid team you still put together.
Okay, fair enough. I had to scrape the barrel. Like, I definitely reached on some picks so that I had names that I was like, I have heard that name before. I know of this person.
I think you still put together a really solid team. So.
Nice. I can't wait for y'all to take my money.
You never know. It's a 60
So what's gonna happen.
Season. Anything could happen. I would say, other than obviously knowing you have plenty of experience with UMHB baseball, Jalen, I guess how much of a fan have you really been in the past?
I'm a Mariners fan, so it's hard to be a fan of baseball when your team is just so god awful.
Yeah.
But I'm an OG Mariners fan. Like Ichiro and King Griffey Jr. is my favorite baseball player of all time. Not even close. So I mean, I'm not like an anti-baseball person, but like I said, when your team is so bad, you're just like, why even pay attention? I know what's gonna happen. I know,
Does the 6-game season make you more or less interested then?
Neither. It's like I mean, if you want to go very specific, there will be less L's in the column because there's less games played.
Basically, basically what it is it's going to be on in the background of Jalen's office while he's at work.
Precisely.
Will he pay attention to it? No.
But you know what? When the Mariners are on, I can only stand to watch maybe 2 innings, and then I just I'm gonna break something, so I just can't. Can't do it.
Well, I was just say it'll be interesting. If I think, for at least from what the videos I've seen, if at least they play Kelenic, the outfielder they got, he will at least be something worth watching. The guy they got in the trade from the Mets.
Yeah, if we could clone him and put him all over the field, we'd be all right.
Every video I've seen of him is ridiculous at the plate, so
is Sean Figgins still a player?
No, you're about 7 or 8 years too late.
Okay, that's like the last Mariners player that I remember them being like, he's good, and I was like, oh, okay. That's all I remember. He was a shortstop, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
If you've seen that Augie Guillen video, he's going off on the Texas Longhorns players in the locker room.
Yeah.
That's me. If you want to see that live in person, just watch me watch a Mariners game.
So yeah, we got all the sports coming back here, as well as
hallelujah.
It's about time. So NHL's even going to their bubble cities, and NBA here, as we'll obviously get into now, and right before the return of the regular season starts. And I guess before we get into our top 10 list, I guess the NBA has done a great job as well at the bubble city, and just the marketing of, I mean, it's what the NBA does best, is marketing their own players. But the fact that you see all these fun videos of the players, doing just the most random things ever, that's the new level that's what baseball struggles in. They don't have that market of individual players that kind of draw them in, but you have this bubble city of just so many odd and absurd things going on with the snitch hotline and players getting busted picking up food. I mean, it's a story in itself on what the players are doing at the bubble city, and I mean, that's just something the NBA's always feels like they're going to have an edge on any other sport.
They're more fun. It really is. Like, I'm not big on the NFL as the no fun league, but like NBA is definitely just more, the personalities in the NBA are more fun.
You have Boban and Tobias yelling at each other on 2 different videos.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. He's just jealous, dude. Boban and Luka have this natural bond, and he's just so jealous. It's what it is, dude. That's what it boils down to.
So I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like out of anything, this bubble city's just kind of caused some more random fun, and
it's good content. Yeah.
I say NBA Twitter always can find a new thing, especially with the snitch hotline. I've seen many Chris Paul with security camera videos all in his room calling the hotline.
Austin Rivers went on IG Live and was like talking about how LeBron's like not even in the same area as everybody else. I've always felt like Austin Rivers is kind of he seems like a little twerp.
I've never liked him.
Yeah, and if you go like watch videos of all the Celtics players from back in the day, like KG and like Big Baby Davis and all them talking about him, they're all like, yeah, he was a little punk. Like he would come in there and try to like show off and stuff, and like they apparently did not like him.
Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't want to.
But, I mean, I'd say he was like, certain recruiting services had him as like the number one player in the class of 2011, and if not number one, he was always like top 3, top 5, behind obviously Anthony Davis. So, when you have your dad who's been an NBA player, NBA coach, and you grow up around NBA players, and then you start to develop some talent, and then everyone's telling you how good you are. I mean, yeah. I can see it.
You gotta admit though, he's got one of the nastier highlight tapes from high school. Like his highlight tapes.
Dude, his Winter Park high school highlight tape is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, let's get into it.
Well, let's get right into it then, and we'll.
I guess we should like put a disclosure on how this works.
I'll let you take that away then.
Yeah. Okay. So we're doing.
You guys.
Yeah. So obviously we're doing top 10 point guards in 10 years, and so this is a little was a little difficult for us. We went back and forth because there's guys who are, you could say they're a point forward, they're a point guard, are they a shooting guard that more there's a lot of different things that you could go into with this, but I think what we finally boiled it down to is, are you a player that brings the ball up the court and is the play initiator? Because I feel like basketball has gone to a more positionless and more role type of game. Like, I don't know. It's just there's not guys that are in the set. This guy's a 1, this guy's a 2, this guy's a 3, 4, 5. Like, it's not really a thing anymore. So, guys like Ben Simmons or Luka can be on these lists even though they're not necessarily the size and look of a traditional point guard. So keep that in mind, I guess. If anyone tries to argue that I'm going to make a bold assumption here and assume Luka's on everybody's list, and don't try to argue with us that Luka's not a point guard. We get it that he probably guards 3s and 2s and stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, and I mean,
he's a point guard in our minds.
And if we're putting him on this list, then when we cover other positions later on, when we do start to hit the other ones, then we aren't allowed to use them again. I mean, it's simple as that. If one of us decided for some reason, we just, we're going to hold Luka for our 3, our small forwards. Well, then we can't use them on this list.
You're excommunicated from the show.
Yeah. We're not double dipping, so.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into it then.
We'll get into it, and we'll let our basketball guest and expert to kick it off.
All right, so just so everyone listening and y'all too know, this is like, as a former point guard, this was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, actually. A lot of thought went into this. I crossed out so many names and put down names and then thought, well, in 10 years they're not going to be around. I did that. I'm sure you guys did it a million times as well.
Yeah.
And I probably, obviously with lists like these are bold predictions, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for some of the picks that I made, but I don't care. So here it is. Number 10, I've got Jamal Murray.
Okay.
And as a diehard Trailblazers fan, this was such a hard thing to do. It was so hard to put him on here because I was rooting against him all last year in the Western Conference semis, and that's kind of a renewed rivalry type deal with the Nuggets and the Blazers. They're doing obviously a lot better than us this year. But, even just as many times as we play them during the year, I do not like this guy. But I cannot deny how good he is, and he's only 23 years old. So, yeah, number 10, I've got Jamal Murray.
All right. Well, I'll say I actually have him on my list, but later on. So I'll take the middle spot so that we'll sandwich it with better basketball analysis than me. I'm sure I can't really input as much. So for me, this was obviously a harder thing because it's not that I'm not knowledgeable, I feel like, in basketball, but when I get on the show with you guys, I feel like, man, I'm just going to throw a name out there and be like, I'm not going to try to be any more analysis after that. But yeah, it was a little harder because at least for the point guard, there's a lot of young guys, so I felt like I didn't have to dig into too much of the future, and I'm not wanting to touch too much of that, as we had to kind of do with wide receiver a couple weeks ago. That was extremely tough. Quarterback, we had a lot more leeway, but wide receiver was very hard.
Yeah,
so
that was brutal.
Yeah, this was at least taking a step back a little easier because there's a lot of young talent at point guard. So with that, my number 10 is I'm going to go with De'Aaron Fox. I think honestly the biggest holdback in putting him at 10 is because he's stuck on the Kings. And the development
I was going to say
is because he is stuck on the Sacramento Kings. I mean, I feel like other than that, he has all the skill sets. He's someone you're going to always want on your team. His skills will last a long time, offensive and defensively. I just think he has a good motor and will be consistent, but being on the Kings will just consistently hold you back from being in that top consideration. So I have Fox at number 10.
Fair enough. Well, so far, me and Frank are the exact same. I also have Jamal Murray at my 10. So yeah, he'll be 33 in 2030. God, 2030, that sounds ridiculous. Yeah, I really, really like Murray. I think he's under the radar a lot. He's way more athletic than you think he is when you look at him. Like, he doesn't look like a dude that would be super athletic to me, but he really is. He's a slightly above average three-point shooter that has been consistently improving, and quite frankly, I was looking through his stats, I don't feel like he takes enough threes. He's actually kind of where Dame was three-point percentage-wise at the beginning of his career, like that too. And then Dame starts jacking up more threes, percentage stays about the same or gets a little bit better, and he starts scoring, and I feel like Jamal could do that as well. He's got one of the best big men in the league in Jokic, which I think is one of the reasons his assists aren't super high, because Jokic kind of takes some of those assists because he's such a good passing big man.
Sure.
But, I just think his stat line by itself will go up. And, I don't know. I really like Murray personally. I think he's always going to be one of those overlooked guys, though, and will never really necessarily be considered one of the best when he is probably in reality one of the best in a few years. So. Oh, and then I guess my 9 as well, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Reverse it back
All
around.
right. Yeah. So my 9, I'm going to reach a name here. Cade Cunningham.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have him on my list. I feel smart now.
Yes. I had talked to Jalen a little bit about him. He's 18 right now, going to be 28. He'll be a freshman at Oklahoma State next season. What'd you say?
Maybe, unless he takes that money and goes somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, with what's going on, who knows how all that's going to play out? I don't know. But he was the number 1 ranked point guard in this class. He is so good. He started out as a small forward and power forward when I was doing a little bit more research for the first couple of years. He's 6'7", 215. So he's only actually been playing point guard for 2 years. But he's already so good at it. He's not like a lot of high school players that you watch where they're going like 100% speed the full time. His game is slow and methodical. He's not necessarily the most athletic dude in the world, but his basketball IQ really shows when he plays. He's kind of Luka-esque where, I'm not saying he's Luka, but he's Luka-esque where he relies more on being crafty and smart to get a bucket than necessarily just using his athleticism, which I think really shows when you're a young guy like that you have the capability to keep doing that, And he's definitely a bucket pretty much every time. He scores so easily, and he's a really good facilitator too. Obviously, I think he needs some work on his perimeter game, but at this point, he's a 6'7" point guard, and he's a better shooter than Ben Simmons already is. So he'll be fine. Right? But I really like him. I like that he went to OK State too instead of somewhere big. It's just kind of a nice change of pace. That seems to be a thing with these upcoming rookies, especially with, we heard Mikey Williams talking about what's the school? I can't remember what the school's called. What's the school that Mikey Williams is talking about going to?
I'm actually not 100. I know like McCure Maker is going to Howard.
Hold on.
That's who I was thinking of. Yeah, Howard.
So yes, I mean that is the trend where, I think, and as it's gone this way, this trend has kind of been slightly going up, going up, going up, where these kids are realizing, especially the one and done potentially guys. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's starting to matter less where they go, and they know how much money is behind their names, and so wherever they go, the money and the TV deals follow, because people want to watch them play in college. And, absolutely. If they do go to college, and so I think that trend, it may not be a strictly HBCU deal, but I do think, like you said, Cade Cunningham could have just been another guy who went to Kentucky and whatever, but he's going to Oklahoma State, so that trend is starting to pick up, I feel like.
Yeah, and it was an HBCU that Mikey Williams was talking about going to. I just can't remember specifically. I want to say he might have been talking about Howard as well.
He might have been. It's a pretty popular one. I honestly, all I saw on him was him talking about entertaining at HBCU. I didn't see any specific names.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, either way, it's nice to see these guys thinking outside the box, change of pace, not necessarily having to go to Kentucky. But yeah, I really like Cade Cunningham. I like his patience and he plays above his age, if that makes sense. He plays wiser than most 18-year-olds would. So
yeah.
Well, I'll be very quick on my number 9 because you guys both hit on him already. I have Jamal Murray here. So simple as that, and I think being paired with Jokic will help in the long term as well. So yeah, I think there's a good progression for him, and he can pair it up with a good duo. And like you said, maybe try to take some more. Like you said, I didn't realize he wasn't taking as many shots for 3 as well. I just feel like he starts. I mean, you have a great duo. You just kind of work with what's best for the team. But as you see this year, Nuggets are successful right now, and it'll be definitely interesting for, like you mentioned, Jalen, Trailblazers and Nuggets kind of in the long term, at least these next 5 to 7 years, because I know obviously it was once you kind of get past for the age for some. But yeah, that is my number 9.
Yeah, I just pray. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go.
Cool. Sorry. Like I said, I hope Blazers can get together in this, because the Nuggets are going to be around for a little while, and no doubts there. They're so young and they're so good, and I just hope that we're able to get back to the level we've been playing at the past 2 or 3 years prior to this one. But my number 9 is De'Aaron Fox. He kind of has that Russell Westbrook motor. He's going full speed. He's coming at you. He plays, loves to play defense, and I think his IQ already, since he's been in the league, has improved dramatically. And I also, like I said, Dom already had him on the list, and I agreed with pretty much everything he said about him. But he's just a guy, one thing that, and I go back to college when he was at Kentucky, he doesn't back down from big moments, and he doesn't back down from big matchups. And, the NBA is so competitive at the point guard position that every night in and out, you're playing a guy who could give you probably 25 and 10 if you're not, and that could be said, I guess, in any position, but the point guard is still ball dominant. That really, you've got to be alert at all times. And when I think back to De'Aaron Fox, I think of the Lonzo Ball matchups. And that was supposed to be a marquee thing, and obviously Lonzo was taken before him and all that in the draft, but he absolutely shredded him in that matchup, and it wasn't even close. And he told us he was going to do it, and then he did it. So he brings that edge. He's, like you say, he's very competitive. His motor is great. He plays on both ends of the floor. I think his outside shooting perimeter game needs to improve quite a bit. His decision making, I think sometimes because he's always going 90, 100% speed, sometimes he makes some bad mistakes going too fast, or even maybe just even too fast for his teammates. But other than that, he's still so young, and like I said, he's so good. And I didn't want to put him on the list initially because you look at guys who normally play like that, and usually they kind of that motor runs down. But then you look at guys like Russell Westbrook, he's been playing that way since he entered the league, and he's been able to sustain it. So that kind of helped me have a little more confidence in De'Aaron Fox being able to do it 10 years from now.
Well, now I feel real good that I've at least got some names at least in the same boat as you guys. So.
Oh yeah, man. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue in snaking it back around. So we'll take your number 8 here, Jalen.
So I'm not sure if y'all are gonna have this young man in there at all, and if y'all do have him, you might have him at a better position than I do. But I have the young king, Bronny James, at my number 8.
I put him down on my consideration, but I just didn't feel comfortable knowing if I should and where, and yeah, so I backed off.
The consensus with him is, well, he's so young, but the consensus with him is there's really no median here. You either think that he's going to flop or you think he's going to be great. And I guess I've seen enough to where, he's 14, 15 years old. I don't expect him to be, the school he's at and in California and all that. I don't expect him at 14, 15 to be all that. But you got to keep in mind who his dad is. So he's learning the game the right way. He's got every resource you could ever dream of. And then he's also got the best genetics, arguably, of any of these guys on this list. So,
yeah.
Just those things alone. I mean, he does have a lot of pressure on him. He chose to play basketball and he chose to follow his dad and all that. So there's more pressure on him than anybody else to be great. But if anyone's has the resources to do it and the guidance from a parental figure, it's him hands down. So I put him on here at number 8 just because, 10 years from now, he'll still be very young in the league, but he'll probably at 24, 25 years old at the time, he'll already probably have been in the league a few years. So I don't anticipate, if he does go to college, him being there very long.
Yeah. With him, I mean, I don't doubt that he'll be good at basketball. I don't know if he'll be NBA good. I don't know. But, he is still, 15?
Yep.
And, what is he, 6'3"-ish?
Yeah, if that, yeah. So I think he's not even close. He'd probably end up, I'd play 6'5" to 6'7" range.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, hell, who knows? He could be 6'10". How much did Anthony Davis grow in...
Yeah, 9 inches in a year or whatever.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, he might be a center. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. He's too young. That was one of those things too where I was like, all right, so let me take a look at Mikey Williams, and I'm watching him, and I'm yeah, he's good, but I don't know what he's gonna be. He's a freshman. He's a freshman in high school. Who knows? So I tried to leave those guys out. The furthest I was willing to go was, probably Cade Cunningham was the youngest I was willing to go. Because I don't know.
Yeah.
You have the show. I'm all about those bold picks, baby. That's what I do.
I had a couple other seniors in high school, but as I'll just roll into my number 8 because it's Cade Cunningham, as Randall had mentioned, and all the same points really. I had heard of him, that obviously in the high school basketball I don't have as much knowledge. I feel like knowing some of the top names you have thrown out, but there was 2 or 3 I kind of at least had heard of, had seen, and Cunningham's one of those that I just, as Randall had kind of mentioned, all the same points. I felt very comfortable with putting him at least at my number 8. Easily, I mean, he'll be 28. I could see him being a lot higher on this list, but kind of played it safe here and put him here at 8.
Fair enough. All right. My 8 is De'Aaron Fox, a.k.a. Swiper, a.k.a. Goku. He will be 32 in 2030. Anybody who's watched him play, he's incredibly fun to watch. He's probably at this point, I feel like he's probably the fastest guy in the NBA, right? I mean, I feel like he's probably, at this point, Russ has probably lost maybe like a little bit of speed to where he's won, probably. I don't know. Russ might still be one. I don't know. But he's definitely in the top 3 fastest dudes in the NBA. He can shoot fairly well. I do agree he can make some pretty stupid shots sometimes, but he's a good playmaker. I agree. Only problem is he's playing for the Kings. Hopefully, and they're a young team, but I don't know if they're like the right young team. You know what I mean? Like, there's
exactly.
yeah, like I don't necessarily trust Marvin Bagley going forward, to be completely honest, from what I've seen. There's other guys on this list that are young that I'm like, yeah, your team's not good right now, but I can see you building around this team and it being good. His, I just don't see. So I really kind of hope De'Aaron Fox somehow gets out of Sacramento, but yeah, I think he's going to be good for a long time. But then, all right, so my number 7, right?
That is correct.
My number 7 is DeJounte Murray.
Wow, I like it.
He'll be 33 in 2030. He is probably the best. Well, no, he's definitely the best on-ball defender on my list. He's one of the better on-ball defenders in the league. Personally, in my opinion, I think he is probably top 5 point guard defenders in the league, I would say. I mean, I feel like that's not crazy to say, He doesn't have eye-popping stats right now. Each year's field goal percentage has risen. This past season, he was shooting 47%, which is pretty good. Doesn't take a whole lot of shots, only averaged 10 points a game. His assist totals have gone up each season, but they're still not really like up there. I want to say I saw like 4 or 5 assists a game. Honestly, what I think he can be is Rondo in his prime, where Rondo's that guy who he's never going to shoot the lights out. He's never going to put up a ton of points, but he defends. He gets the ball to the open shooters, and when he shoots efficiently. I think he'll be another overshadowed guy because of those stats not being really high. But I really like him quite a bit, and I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he can get those stats, but I just don't see it. But I think he will always be up there just because of his defense and being able to get the ball to the people who need to shoot it.
All right. Well, come back around to my number 7. I will then be 32-year-old Lonzo Ball. I added him here. I think the long-term build of the team is a good fit for him, better than the Lakers. I think he has obviously shown improvement in a lot of different areas of his game, and I think he is someone that needs the ball more versus with him off the ball off LeBron. I just think this would be a better fit for him going long term, and he has the skill set to be a consistently good player. I didn't think long term top 5, but I think he's someone that I could trust long term to be there at the point guard position. Obviously it could depend a lot on how long Zion. I know people are back and forth on if he's just too much to where he's not going to make it long term, but if Zion can go long term, I think I'll just keep helping Lonzo's stock. So I put him here at 7.
Interesting. Lonzo was going to be my 10. It just, you brought up a lot of good points, but just to me, personally, he's been, and he's young now, but he's just been so average and almost okay with. I hate to say that about a guy, like okay with being average. Obviously, he's not. But yeah, I like the pick because trust me, he almost made my list. But I couldn't pull the trigger. But I'm glad you did.
I had him moved around on this list. I had him from 7 to 10, and I had moved them a few different times. So
Yeah,
I
and so here's
almost put him in my 10 too. I just couldn't.
yeah. So the thing is like honestly, like, is he someone deserving to be on this list? I think absolutely, because at the end of the day, we're gonna throw out names here that are guys that have never and may never even make the NBA. You know, so many things could happen for a lot of these young guys. So I mean, he's already there. So at the end of the day, he certainly deserves it. I mean, no doubt about it.
He kind of, like, the way I see him is a little bit about what I just talked about, DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
Where, like, he's always going to be a good defender.
Yeah.
Like, he's always been that. He's going to be
He's
that.
going to play for the next 10 to, whatever,
Yes.
10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's for sure. But, yeah, will he rise above being just more than just average?
Right.
Absolutely. And his IQ is incredible. But so I did a lot of research. I had to do a lot of research, obviously, not so much with the current NBA guys that are young, or even, some guys that, even high school guys. I just did a lot of research with guys, younger guys at the point guard position. And this name, I honestly didn't know a whole lot. I'd heard the name and I'd watched some stuff, but the more I watched him, the more I fell in love with this game. And my number 7 is Killian Hayes. Something to be said. He's an American born, but he's, he grew up in France and he plays pro ball in Europe. And his game, I won't say it reminds me necessarily of Luka. I won't necessarily say that, but it's just something about when you're young and you start young playing in these European pro leagues. It's just that IQ. I mean, you just watch his playmaking, like, is probably the best part of his game right now. And we've seen, how many guys have we seen come into the league that they might not be just prolific scorers, but they have a pretty good IQ, and then they just are able to develop their scoring and develop that part of their game. He's 6'5". I think he's like 175, 180 pounds. So he's not, huge. He'll obviously put that weight on once he gets to the league, but his footwork, I talked about his passing, but his footwork and just creating space, not just creating space for his own scoring, but creating space to set up a teammate is something that someone his age doesn't typically. I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of have it or you don't. And from what I've seen, he's got it, and he's very exciting. He plays the game the right way. He's a lefty, which lefty point guards, Brandon Jennings is still to this day one of my favorite point guards of all time that I've met and watched play several times. So just, coming off a double cross step back, here's a left-handed pull up in your face. I mean, there's just something nasty about left-handed PGs, and I'm really excited to see what he does.
Take away with your number 6 as well.
Then at 6, I actually got Mr. Ja Jam, Catch a Body, Randy Moss, Ja Morant, and same. I mean, almost. I don't really need to elaborate so much on Ja because pretty much everything I said about De'Aaron Fox applies to Ja. That motor, that killer instinct. I mean, dude's a killer straight up. Same thing. He doesn't necessarily shy. And in his rookie year, he's gotten the Grizzlies right now. If the playoffs started right now, they're in. And I get that they have JJJ, and I get that they've got other pieces, but the Grizzlies are in the West, and this young kid has came in and made an impact right away. And a lot of people, because he's so small, not short, but less weight. A lot of people didn't know if he's going to be able to do that. Yeah, he has. A lot of people didn't know at Murray State he'd be able to do this, do that. He did it. So he's just all about proving people wrong. I love it. I love that he doesn't back. He talks trash to anybody. It doesn't matter. He goes for your neck. And it's hard for me, the way I tried to play, it's hard for me not to like a guy like that.
I've seen Jalen talk some serious trash on the court.
It's a genetic habit.
I'm not gonna lie. As much trash I've heard you talk, and my little amount of time being around your father, I think I've actually heard more trash out of his mouth. Just that man, you gotta love him.
That's just how we are. And I say genetic, but none of my cousins are. One of my cousins who's playing pro in Europe right now was actually worse than all of us, but he's also the best. But with the exception of him, it really just like a lot of my other cousins I played, they didn't really. It was just kind of me and my dad thing. So I
Your
was
sister
very
not a trash talker?
not at all. She's no.
I could see that, though. I could see her being quiet. She's a silent killer.
She's a silent killer. Like she had one summer in AAU where she shot over like. She didn't shoot like a super high volume, but she was up like in the 58, almost 60% range from three. It was just she was going, 6 for 8, 7 for 9, 6 for 9, like just. But you won't say no. Like no, like if I'm dropping 5, 6 threes on you in a game, you're gonna hear about it. Yeah. But she's also weird because as a young kid, she loved playing defense a ton, and me and my dad, I learned to love defense, just because I like shutting people down and shutting them up. But for her, she was just like she wanted to score so she could go back and play defense, and I was just like, no, I want to play defense so I can go back and score. But yeah, but John Morant, like I said, I mean, if you can talk, if you can talk the talk and you can walk it, man, why not? I know a lot of people don't like Westbrook and don't like a lot of the trash talk and all that. I love it. Now he needs to chill when he's talking about my boy Lillard because we've seen how that matchup's gone over the years. But yeah, the trash talk, I'm all about it. So I had to put Ja up here, and also he's super young. He's only a rookie, and he's just so fun to watch already.
My number 6 here will be the 33-year-old Ben Simmons. I know obviously he was someone to go on the list and off the list and then back on since we adjusted the criteria. At this point, I feel like what kept him in the 6 through 10 range was I don't care how many videos I see of him in a gym actually shooting a 3 until I actually see him pull it out in a game and do it consistently, then I'm not going to put him in my top 5. So, but I think just the pure athleticism and playmaking ability and just to have that versatility on defense is obviously going to be someone in that top echelon of players. So, but yeah, until I can actually see a consistent actual 3-point shot with whatever hand he wants to shoot with, I don't care. I'm putting him here at 6.
Fair enough. My 6 is Killian Hayes. Be 28 and 2030. So you took Luka. Mine is James Harden.
I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, that constant step back where it's like, that was a travel, but no one's gonna call it. and then just drain it right in your eye. Just he's really good. A bucket every time he steps on the court. He can shoot the 3, he can drive, finish at the rim. My favorite stat that I saw about him is the 3 years he played overseas, he drew a foul every 3 shots he took. And he shot 86% from the free throw line. So, he's already got that kick it out to the 3-point shooter mindset when he's driving. He's going to be an offensive threat pretty much right away in the NBA, I think. I'm really excited to see where he goes. I would really love for him to end up on the Suns somehow, because I think that's the thing that they're really missing is a good true point guard. Kick it out to Devin. Ayton's a beast. I feel like Ayton's going to be underrated for a long time too, but he's so good. But yeah, Killian Hayes at 6. My 5 then is Ben Simmons, 33 in 2030. He'll be 33 and still won't have a jumper, but he'll still be able to drive, dunk, kick out shooters, and play defense, and that's enough for me to put him on the list. So
he'll still be 6'10". So.
Yeah, he'll still be a 6'10" point guard. So
fair enough. All right, well, I know my number 5 is going to spark Randall back up, so I'll just get it out here real quick. I got number 5. I have LaMelo Ball here. I think that him actually going to Australia helped him out in just getting away. And, I mean, obviously he still was in the spotlight of highlights, but I feel like it kind of helped him get away and grow his game instead of just everyone constantly looking at him at the high school game, shooting half-court shots or whatever. But I'll let Randall take it away on probably why this was a terrible choice.
I'll go off on him when I know once Frank puts him at his 1.
Goodness gracious, calling me out.
You like him a lot more than I think me and Dom do.
Oh, yes.
Definitely a lot more than me.
I mean, I think he's going to be in 10 years. I think he'll be a top 10 player. I feel like this was actually my riskiest thing, putting him at 5, but I'm just going to leave that at that.
I think Frank might have him in his top 3.
Okay,
I'm
well
like
then
pretty confident.
I'm
he's
gonna
in his top
just wait, and we'll let Jalen have his 5
Yeah,
and 4
well-
here.
Yeah, I'm gonna blast through these because now y'all got me excited. So my number 5 is your boy SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. You know, I think he's at the current moment his point guard skills. I mean, some people won't even have him as a point guard. He is one. Don't get it twisted. Just because Chris Paul's on the roster, a lot of teams, do run a 2-point guard format. But as soon as Chris Paul, Randall, we talked about this. When Chris Paul's on the bench, it's SGA all day.
Yeah.
Great young talent. Super fun to watch. He plays the right way, plays both ends. Very, very athletic. Underrated now, but he's my number 5. And then at number 4, I got Trae Young. God, if he can get off the Hawks, his
I actually
career.
kind of like their young core they have.
No, I
Yeah,
don't like
this
it
is
at all.
the opposite.
You don't
of the
like John
Kings.
Collins?
I like John Collins a little bit, but I don't like anyone else.
Fair enough.
I'm not as high on Cam Reddish as I once was. I'm not saying he's a bad player and he's going to be bad, but like I said, Trae Young, he's so young, he's already so good, and I feel like his ceiling is still pretty high. But we'll see. Obviously, he's got to cut down on the turnovers and that type of thing. And when he actually has a team around him and he's not necessarily allowed to do what he wants, we'll see. But it got to just get off the Hawks, or maybe just Atlanta needs to make some moves to help him. But those are my 5 and 4s.
Give him his Klay Thompson. I mean, I feel like that would help on the cut down on the turnover part.
Yes.
Well, my number 4, I don't need to say a lot because you've already hit it on him, Jalen, is I have Ja here at number 4. I like exactly everything he said, how he plays the game. I think the underdog mentality is something that the mix of, like you said, Fox and Westbrook, and everyone's betting against me, and he's already proven it with like you said, I don't care what other talent they have, it's the Grizzlies, and they're in contention in the West. So, and he's doing that a rookie year and a lot more time to add. He'll only be 30. I think that was he was an easy choice for me to put in the top 5. So.
Sure.
My 4 is SGA, Shea. Shea's really interesting. Just like you said, the second Chris Paul leaves the court or leaves OKC, he's going to be the point guard. So good offensively, 19 points per game, shooting right around 47% from the field. He averaging 6 rebounds a game this year. His assist numbers will definitely go up once he moves back to point guard and Chris leaves town. But super crafty, finishing at the rim. He's just really fun to watch, honestly. And I think he'll definitely keep getting better. Definitely still needs some work on the defensive end, but there's not many players on our list that don't need some work on defensive end. So
True.
Then my 3 is Trae Young, 31 in 2030. Scoring machine, he'll be that his entire career. His assists will probably keep adding up. He's definitely never going to guard anybody. But he'll always score in bunches. If he can just get smarter with the ball, there's not much else to say there. He'll be fine. He'll score a whole lot of points, but
he'll
just never stop anyone from scoring a whole lot of points either. So.
Well, this makes a lot easier since now we're all hitting the same players. I don't need to say much because I have at 3, I have SGA here. All the same points. Once Chris Paul leaves, I think you're going to see a very large uptick in assist points. I don't know, just for everything I've already seen from him, just kind of makes it look like you're like, okay, they weren't completely dumb from moving on from Russell. This is probably a better fit for the long-term solution for the Thunder. So
I am really confused who your 2 is right now, because I feel like you've already hit all the people that I thought you would have hit. Yeah, and so now I'm pretty sure I know who your 1 is, but I have no idea who your 2 is about to be.
Okay, I didn't think it'd be that much of a surprise, but I'll let Jalen do his 3
maybe
and 2.
I've just missed some. Maybe I've missed somebody on your list.
You definitely did, because it's not going to be a surprise. So.
Okay.
So my 3 is Luka Doncic.
How dare you?
And I'm not going to say really anything about it other than I love
him.
him.
Good in a Twitter poll.
I don't care. Yeah, I know where a lot of y'all's fan base and the listeners. I know where we're at. I understand. Yada yada. So don't care. But
They hate us anyways because we all hate the Cowboys. So
Yeah, that's fair.
it's your fun.
exactly, yeah. So I'm right. But Luca love his game. I'm sure. But I know both of y'all have him. So I'm not gonna elaborate too much. I'll let y'all do it. But just know that I do love his game a lot, and he's really fun to watch. And then at my number 2, I have Cade Cunningham, actually.
Oh, wow.
Him all the way there. I mean, everything you said about him. I mean, his IQ is already advanced.
I'm so mad at you right now.
he's gonna change. He has the potential to change the game. Just the fact that 6'7" point guard. I mean, we see Ben Simmons, and obviously Magic was really the first to kind of do that. But it's still not every day that you have a 6'7", 6'8" point. I mean, he could still be growing. He could be 6'9", 6'10" as well. We don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact that you hit the nail on the head, because he plays kind of a slower, more methodical game, he doesn't rely as much on his athleticism. And people say, "Oh, he doesn't have to. He's 6'7". Okay, sure, but you still have to put the ball in the basket. You still have to put the ball in your teammates' hands in the right spots, and he does all those things well. And at 6'7", he does have the potential, if he can get a little more athletic, to maybe guard a little better. And I'm not saying at the high school or college level. I'm saying in the pros. So high ceiling for him. Still maybe too young to see, but from what I've seen, I've seen quite a bit enough. And we talked about my dad earlier. My dad's seen him play in person, and we kind of broke him down. And my dad has, I think, has yet to be wrong about a player at that age when he predicts it. So if Big LJ says he's gonna be good, I'm hopping on board.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm so mad at you right now because I'm thinking about who your one is.
I'm so glad I let Jalen end up with the number 1 as we come back around to end it. So my number 2, because now I want to really get back to Jalen's 1, but not suspenseful. I have Trae Young at 2. I hadn't said him yet, so I didn't think that was really that shocking that I had him at 2. But
for some reason I thought you already said him.
Oh, gotcha. That's why when you're like, who do you have?
Yeah,
I was like,
no,
I haven't said Trae Young. I mean,
yeah. For some reason I thought you already said him. If I would have known, no. Okay,
yeah, I know. Way to make me feel real dumb. Oh, who's your number 2? I was like, it's Trae Young. So I'll just let you go. Here's your number 2, Randall.
Yeah, my 2 is Ja Morant. He is honestly actually my favorite player right now outside of the Mavs. Pretty much. I love watching him play so much. Offensively, incredibly gifted. A little over 17 points a game, almost 7 assists per game, all while shooting almost 50% from the field and 36 from 3 as a rookie. Super athletic. If you haven't watched him almost dunk over Kevin Love this season, go watch that because it's amazing. It's basically the Vince Carter dunk in the Olympics. It's nasty. He talks a whole lot of shit. Oh, sorry. Trash. He talks a lot of trash. Well, it is what it is. But anyways, for a rookie, he talks a whole lot of trash, and it's really fun to watch him do that. He's got such an intensity for a rookie. It's crazy. But talking about the young cores earlier, theirs is the one that I really like. I really like JJJ, and then I really like Brandon Clark too. They got a steal with Brandon Clark. So I think they can build really well around that team. I think Ja will quickly be in the top 10 point guards in the next couple of years, and then in 10 years, I very well could see him battling to say he's the best. And the best to me is going to be Luka. He'll be 31 in 2030. Honestly, there's not even much to say. He's really incredible. He's got to get a little bit better on defense. The whole thing with me researching the usage percentage the other day was usage percentage-wise, no player other than MJ has ever had close to 35% usage in a season and still won the NBA Finals. And both Giannis and Luka are at 37% this year, which is a whole lot. And by the way, if you ever didn't think MJ's the GOAT, top 3 of all time and still won the finals, all MJ, and then it's other people. He's the only one. So, but yeah, Luka's incredible. He's just incredible.
Yeah, I think obviously everything about Luka as my number one as well speaks for it. I guess just the only thing I would add in, not anything obviously it's just last year, rookie year, I went to the Raptors Mavs game and almost watched him drop he did end up dropping a triple double, but he almost had it at half, and just like watching that game, it was just like I've never just out of just this rookie player just being there in person was the most insane thing. Watching everything he was doing on the court was just like it had us at the edge of the seat. So by far it was just there's so much more. I mean everything just a big jump to sophomore year. So yeah, he's my number one as well.
All right, Jalen, tell me how you're wrong.
I stood up for this one, baby. I'm ready. I am ready.
Got 5 minutes of just back and forth.
Oh, let's get it on. So I'm going to shock the world here. I'm going to say my number one point guard in 2030 will be LeBron James. Psych. Like, now he still may be in the league at 45 if he wants to. But as my good friend that I've never actually met in person, Chance the Rapper, said, if you want a bag, go get a bag. So go get a bag, young fella. LaMelo Ball. Number one. Go ahead, hit me with it. What do you want me to say? I mean, he's what, 6'7" now? So he's the biggest ball brother. He's been playing pro since he was, a lot of, European players do this where they'll start young and they do this, but it's not super, super common to see a kid leave high school in the United States to go then play pro and have success over there while looking like at the time he probably hadn't even hit puberty